It's Rowena Patton on the Real Estate News Radio Show. And today we're here with Deanna and Kelly, and we're going to talk about something that's not always easy to bring up, but it's just really, really important topic. The show is called the Home Legacy Folder, so you know where we're going with that. You're listening to the Real Estate News Radio. You can hear all the previous episodes over the last 14 years at realestatenewsradio.com. So what if something happens to your home? What if something happens to you? And I know that sounds really heavy, but many of us have already dealt with this in our families. And I know it's not meant to be a scary conversation at all. It's actually a very loving conversation where you're taking care of your family. It's a family conversation. It's a practical conversation. So if it's going to upset you today, don't listen. Trigger alert. But it's something so important, for so many homeowners, especially senior homeowners, or for those of you who are in your 50s and 60s and 70s and dealing with elderly parents. In fact, I know a friend who's in her 70s, whose mother, I just saw it on Facebook, her mom just turned 102.
Wow.
So, and she's in her late 70s. She may even be in her 80s. I'm not going to name her because that wouldn't be fair. You never tell a lady's age, right? So, for many of you, it's not just a house. It's where your kids grew up. It's where the holidays happen. It's where you make friends with the neighbors. It's where you maybe grew up around people you went to school with. It's where decades of memories live. Of course, remember, we have a memories video for that as well. So today, me, Deanna, Kelly, we're talking about something called the Home Legacy Folder and how to pull it together. It's a simple folder, printed or digital. It just helps everybody understand your home, your wishes, who to call, and how to go about it. We do actually have a template for you. It's all free. We'll tell you where to get hold of that. So I want to start with Deanna today because she spent so much time working with during those major life transitions that she managed a big senior living community for 14 years. Deanna.
Well, thank you, Ro. I'm glad that you brought this up because it's such an important topic. In my experience in senior living, I've seen how quickly things can become very overwhelming for families. And, there's a lot of moving pieces to that transition. And when a senior is moving into a senior living community, or when health changes happen, the home often becomes one of the biggest decisions. The family is really asking a couple of key questions, excuse me. What do we do with it? First of all, how can we make this work for our loved one? What's the home worth? Is there still a mortgage? Do they need some equity to help pay for the care? And that's often the case because as homeowners, that's typically someone's most important and valuable asset that they work so hard to get throughout their life. So, another key thing to remember is all of these decisions and choices and paths that they're going through, they're happening while the family is going through a really emotional state. They're tired. They're trying to make decisions quickly. Often what I call the older adults, the children with aging parents, they've got their own families to care for and their own jobs to tend to. And so this is why a home legacy folder is so powerful. It gives them a place to start. We should say it definitely doesn't replace an attorney, CPA, or financial advisor, but it does help organize the real estate side of the conversation. And for seniors, and as we know, people at that age bracket, they don't want to be a burden. They do everything they possibly can for themselves to the point of self-sacrifice because they don't realize that this can actually be a gift for their children. So it really says, I cared enough to write things down so you don't have to guess anymore, and it takes that away from the equation. Ro, we can't hear you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, th- that was so weird. You were talking. Sorry, you were talking and it just completely. Did you
It's all
hear
right.
anything, Kelly?
We're going to cut that piece out. We're going to make a lot of noise so I can see where to cut it.
No,
That is,
you were on mute. Your speech had muted.
that is exactly it. This is not about taking control away from anybody. It's about making sure that your family is not left digging through the old files, the drawers, the linen cupboards with all those stacks in and files. I've been through this personally, and it's really, really hard. I went through it early. I was raised by my grandparents, and going through all that in my 20s, it was so difficult. I don't think it gets any easier in your 40s or your 50s or your 60s or your 70s either, would be my guess. And Kelly, you work with families in some, emotional situations as well, going through trauma or somebody passing or getting divorced or, gosh, half the time just moving out of a house. So what do you see when there's no plan in place?
Chaos, confusion. So I want to echo. So when Deanna was talking about printing out this list or downloading this packet, the biggest thing I find is I'm going to go into myself personally. You stress out when you don't have the facts. And these situations like Deanna's talking about, they can happen immediately. Your parent or somebody may get put in the hospital and then they may need to go into an assisted living after the fact. But nobody thinks about all these things together. I mean, I personally had friends that are like, their parents pass away or they have to go out and they have to deal with the home. Where's the deed? What kind of mortgage do we have? I've had a couple that have had reverse mortgages, had no clue, and they've had to let the house go. There's so many things involved. And if you go through this checklist, it'll help you understand if they're current on taxes, who the insurance company is. Do you live in an HOA, an area that has an HOA? What about repairs and stuff like that? But it's just the confusion and chaos that if you go through this list and use it, you will be set up for when that event happens. We don't want to say we know it's going to happen. Yeah, it will, but you want to be prepared for when it actually does happen. So whoever's in charge of the family or in charge of the information from mom, dad, whoever the case may be, you want to have this list taken care of and answered long before the event actually happens.
Yeah, and we need to remember too that often we're dealing with estates. So, if you've got more than one child or somebody taking care of the estate, or if you've appointed somebody, then, you've got, especially if you've got kids involved. So funny saying that what do you call them? Older adults, Deanna?
Children with aging parents.
Children with aging parents, yeah. So often you've got one sibling wants to sell it, some may want to keep it, someone may want to rent it out. Most often you get one wanting to move into it and then trying to figure out the financing, how to buy the others out, which can be a very long road. And oh my gosh, if you don't have a trust set up or something to transfer the property easily, but I want to say you're probably feeling kind of overwhelmed just listening to us talking about this today. We do have a template and you don't have to do it all at once is the thing. Just make a start, do the stuff that you can do. So, Home Legacy folder creates a roadmap for you. Even if you fill in 3 things on it today and then go back to it later, it's all held online. It's all private. It's just for you. You make a copy. It's yours. It's all encrypted. You don't have to worry about that. And I love the idea of a roadmap, and one thing we always say is that a home, it should be a gift to your children. Now, if you're the kind of parents who are like, to heck with that, they need to stand on their own 2 feet, I had to work for it. I very much respect that too. I'd work with grandparents who said, one day all this will be yours. And every single day I would say, no, absolutely not. Don't even go there. I want you to sell the house, spend all the money and have a good time. So if you want to do that, go do that too. And we can help you get out of your house now, actually, if you want to do that. And go and have a ball. Go and do everything on your bucket list. If that's not the case, then let's get your home folder together. And quite frankly, even if you're younger, a lot of this folder is for you as well, where all the details are. And you might find it a lot easier going back when you know all these details are. So, excuse me, let's look at the very basic information. And you've all got this: property address, county, parcel ID or PIN, we can look those up for you if you don't have them. The year you purchased the property, the mortgage company, the approximate mortgage balance, whether there's a second mortgage or HELOC. That's often overlooked, and the kids are like, oh, this is terrible. And, oh, I wonder how much we're going to make on the house. And then they didn't know about the HELOC that is another $200,000. The homeowner's insurance company, whether it's an HOA, condo, or townhome association, and the documents to that, again, we can help you find an awful lot about that. Just write down what you do know. A little info is better than no info, right? So what do you think, Deanna? Did I miss anything there?
Yeah, no, that's wonderful information. I would only add that the document section is very important. Families at this stage during a transition like this really need to know where things are. And so, they want to look for things like to include in there, like the deed or title, mortgage paperwork, homeowner's insurance policy, like you mentioned, tax records, HOA documents, anything like that that might be helpful later on down the road. Now, you don't have to hand a copy to everyone today, but someone trusted does need to know where those documents are located. And please, we can't stress enough, keep sensitive documents in a secure place. The point is not to expose private information, it's to prevent confusion later and make sure everyone's on the same page.
What do you think, Kelly?
Oh, I agree with her, especially the legalities of it. Power of attorney, who's in charge. I literally spoke with a person selling their family home, and they told me that their brother could help take care of it because she's out of state, but what happens with the house is up to her, and it's nobody else's business. So it's like you could have sibling rivalry in there or something. It's like sometimes it doesn't go well with family members, so hopefully everybody is involved. But I agree with Deanna. Yeah, you have the legal parts in place first and foremost to me. But somebody's got to know what's going on. If you don't know, this is going to be you're going to be hit with a landslide.
So what about repairs and improvements, Kelly? You had a whole section that you were talking about with when the roof was replaced and all that good stuff. I mean, you've done a lot of remodeling, a lot of construction work in your time before and during being a realtor. So what kind of things are we looking at there?
Well, the person who knows most about the house is the person living in it, mom or dad or whoever the case may be. They're the ones that they're the ones that are going to have to pass that information on as to when the roof is replaced, if they service the HVAC later, anything dealing with, anything big. The plumbing repairs, water heater, if they had leaks, if they had drainage issues with the sewer systems. You're going to be asked by everybody when the house goes to sell or when you try to dispose of it, or even if somebody moves in, they've got to know about updates and when any of the repair work was done. And the only ones that are going to know that are the people living in it.
I know that too. We deal with this as agents all the time, right? So often when I would say probably a third of our work is with siblings who are selling the house in estate sales. It's a lot of people. Obviously, there's a lot of us getting older. It's the biggest demographic in this country by far now. So here's the issue. Often what happens is there's a thing called a property disclosure in every single state that's attached to the MLS. And it goes out to you as the homeowner, and you check when the roof was replaced, how old the HVAC is, whether it's the new type of HVAC, because you can't repair the old type of HVAC now. If there's any plumbing issues, any electrical issues, all that good stuff. When the last time the kitchen or bath updates were done, that's on a property disclosure. So normally, and you tell me if this has been your experience, the siblings check NA or, they're not going to disclose anything, because you can do that in almost every state. You can choose not to disclose. Why is that not a good idea, do you think, guys? I don't think it's a good idea at all. Do you agree with that? And why not?
Can I touch on that?
Please do, yeah.
Yeah, you have the children or the successors. It could come back to be a legal battle for them. So what, they can say they don't know, but at the same time, they should have an understanding from their parents or whoever owns the house of what happened to it, because it could come back. And unless the parents have passed on, or whoever owned the house has passed on, and they can literally claim they don't know anything about it, then maybe they can mark NA. But if that person is still living, it could still come back to affect the parents. You really want that to happen, or whoever owned the house? Because it doesn't just, you can't just say, hey, I didn't know about it, so it's not my fault. But it's like it is. There's disclosures that have to take place with the transaction, and you might as well know about it. It's going to just benefit you in the end, and it's going to protect you first and foremost.
Yeah. And may I add that?
Yeah, please.
Sorry.
When you're helping buyers, what do they think when they see a disclosure that has NA all over it? I'm sure our brains went to the same place on that.
Yeah, for sure. They're apprehensive. It's scary. They're very unsure. There's caution that takes place at that point. And another thing to remember too is, neighbors talk, right? So, as a buyer's agent, you go and you visit a home. Oftentimes you'll have a neighbor that will come around. They see somebody's new, interested in the home. They've seen the comings and goings of people helping their loved ones, especially if they've been elderly. So if they have knowledge of something that's been going on that maybe a family member has been coming over to try to help with, they're going to disclose that to the new homeowner before or after they move in. So yes, Kelly's right. You have to check all your boxes, cross all your T's, because that could come back to you for sure.
It's just it's the same as how we list houses certified pre-owned. We have homeowners do the inspection up front because everybody goes in eyes wide open. Everybody knows what's going on. So, having that disclosure up front and central is really important. Yes, you can put NA, but I'd say to you, if you have a home listing out there right now, really think twice about that. Put down everything that you can to disclose it, because it's better to disclose because the buyers feel like you're being truthful. Everybody feels like it's on a level playing field and you have more trust. And let's face it, there's not a lot of trust sometimes in real estate deals. Like it's like one side trying to make money on the other side and, that kind of thing. So it's really, really important whatever stage you're at, whether you're making your home legacy folder or you are in a regular real estate deal. I don't know what that is because they're all different, right? So that's a really important point, I think, of disclosing things. And we're not saying it's not about every home has to be perfect at all. I was even wondering when I was looking through our topic today, whether we should talk about people having homes inspected. I might just have my home inspected. I'm not selling it because it will give me time to know what is going to come up on an inspection, just what's going on with my house. So, you don't want the family left guessing, and you definitely don't want the family putting that non-disclosure on there because we don't know what's going on. And maybe there's an issue with the gutters that's causing some moisture. Your house, your family's grieving. It might take them a year to even put the house on the market. And I've seen that very, very commonly. So other things are going to, the grass keeps growing. The insurance is still there. The weeds still growing in the gutters. Like that could cause problems with the house down the road. So I think that's important. And the folder, obviously, all the utilities, the electric company, the gas company, the water provider, the sewer and septic information. We just did a blog post on those old form pipes. Go and have a look at that one if you want to be scared about your sewer lines. Always do a sewer scope. Trash service, internet provider. Yeah, we're all grinning because we've had one come up recently on that. And it's not funny, is it? It's like, it's things that are worth doing. Who's the lawn care? You can even go as far as what's the main paint color in your house, so you can do all those little touch-ups because you might not remember later on. I mean, I'm not in memory care and I have problems remembering things, especially if I've thrown the paint away at this point. It's a good thing to have in there. So, Deanna, then there's all the things about the people. You've dealt with this for so many years when you were managing the senior living. So, tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, the people section is very important, and there are a lot of people to connect with and reach out to. And really, it comes down to, who should the family call? So some recommendations would be like a real estate attorney, a CPA or financial advisor, a real estate professional, of course, to help with these types of things.
We know anyone that can help with that?
Just a few. Absolutely. Roofer and, again, going back to the neighbors, helpful neighbors, because they're going to be able to have a lot of contacts as well. But ultimately, When families are under pressure in these types of situations, first of all, they don't know where to start, and they definitely don't want to start from scratch. So having the right names and phone numbers can reduce a lot of stress. And for a lot of senior homeowners themselves, this can be really reassuring and basically says to their loved ones, hey, I've not left my family alone with this.
Oh, and I'm sure you both also deal with this when you're talking to senior homeowners who are thinking about going into senior living or just downsizing from their four bedroom, 5 bedroom house that they've realized the kids aren't coming back from different places. So now is a time to maybe move into independent living and start renting, but pull your money out now in most parts of the country. We've hit that peak and it's going to be another 10 years. And anywhere past 55, I would say. I might put Kelly and I in that situation. We don't want to wait for 10 years to pull our money out of the house, which is what this cycle could take. It was 14 years last time around before you get the height of your money out. So now might be the time to move into independent living maybe and pull your money out and get out there. So, you start settling and in a good way and settle back down again. That is so important. So let's go to Kelly, the big man in the room, who's going to talk about access.
All right. So one other thing you can do through this is to make sure you understand who has keys, where are the spare keys located in the house, are there garage codes, alarm companies. I actually had a buyer. I helped them with a house a few years ago, and what a pain it was to get the alarm company switched over. It's like, you don't have access to the code, and we had to go back to the previous seller. Those are things you're never going to think about unless you put some preparation into it. And is there a gate code? Is there a mailbox key? Mom and dad have a safe in the house with all that money you're supposed to be getting as an inheritance. What about the Wi-Fi? The thing is, bro, I'm going to touch back to the maintenance and stuff. You were talking about the utilities and electrical and water. And if somebody doesn't know where that information is, does the gas get shut off in the winter? Do the water pipes burst?
Oof.
What happens? And the city comes in and starts posting notices because the lawn hasn't been mowed and now it's full of weeds and stuff like that. This will help prepare people in so many ways to be able to take care of the house and knowing what's coming. And that's what we're trying to help them with is here's what's going to happen. We've seen it time and time again, especially with Deanna's experience. She's seen it over and over, and that's why it's easier for us to put this list together and this package together to help these families that are going to go through this transition someday, one way or another.
Gosh, I realize, the more we talk about this, I'm realizing we need, it's funny because I owned House Facts for the longest time, where we'd put together a folder that had all the details in it. This isn't just a legacy folder. This is a now folder. We need to create this for people who have houses now, and you fill in a little bit at a time, do 5 minutes a week until everything's there. How helpful would that be? Like a house folder with all the details in it, especially if it's electronic because the printed ones get lost. All right, let's move to the most emotional part of this folder, your wishes. And this isn't about replacing a will. Obviously, it's really great if you have a will in place, not about replacing a trust, and it's definitely not legal advice. That's our big disclaimer there. So, if you can't live in the home anymore, what do you prefer? Do you want it sold? Because quite frankly, you may not have the memory to be able to, to be able to make that decision at that point. As sad as it is to say, we're dealing with a lot of Alzheimer's in this country, a lot of memory care issues. That's why all these memory care communities are springing up all over the place. So, thinking about what you'd want now, might you change your mind? Absolutely. But this is your document. It's only for you, right? So you can change it. So do you want the family to compare options before deciding? What does that look like? What do you want for your family? Do you want them to fix all these little last things? Do you want them to squeeze every dollar out of it? And I don't want to be salesy here, but we do have a great program that is CashCPO.com that gets your money out. And then we fix it, and then you benefit from the upside. Most sellers make 90 to 120%, and that takes all of the, it takes most of the stress away because you don't have to think about it. It's a program that we use when people are going into senior living as well. Gosh, Deanna, you've used it so many times, right? And it just
have. Yeah.
really eases that transition. So, do you need the home to pay for care? A lot of people find they need to sell. It's about 80% of people need to sell their home to go into senior living, and they don't think about going into senior living. So they're not thinking, oh, I'm going to break my hip in 5 years' time, and then suddenly have to sell my house and suddenly go into senior living. No planning is done. So, do you prefer privacy and less stress, or do you need to squeeze out every dollar? What does it look like? Here's a big one, guys. So I knew somebody once that put stickers on the bottom of furniture in the parents' house while the parents are still living. In fact, here's the truth. The parents are still living, and it's always been a sort of funny joke. But don't argue over the furniture. Is the shocking truth, just to, be Debbie Downer again, Row Downer for a moment. Most kids don't want your furniture. It came over from Germany in 1926, or grandma's bedroom set. The majority of families don't want your furniturebut if you do, talk it over now, and figure out who's getting what. And if they don't want it, that's okay. They've got their own lives. Obviously in a, very different era now. And that they just seem like simple things, but they matter so much. I've been through losing my grandparents and it was awful. And I've seen lots of other families go through it as well. Whole fight going on. Who's getting what? Who's this going to? And it can literally tear families apart. Have you guys ever? Yeah, Kelly's grinning. Like you've seen this,
I know
this with people. Yeah, it's awful.
I have my parents' furniture that my sister tagged.
Oh, goodness.
What's your sister's name? Let's give her a shout out.
Let's call her. Her name's Jenna, but yeah, she had her label on some furniture, some side tables and coffee tables. It's like, well, they're in my house.
So sorry, Jenna. We're going to take it out on Kelly for you. There you go. I hope you're having a lovely life, and I'm sorry you don't have that furniture. And we're going to send the men around to get it for you. There you go.
Yeah.
So, but people are fighting because they didn't know what you wanted. So get everybody in agreement. Well, they won't be in agreement, but it's up to you. It's yours, right? Stop enabling your kids. Just put it down. Who's getting what? So, what do you think, Deanna?
Yeah, that is so true. I mean, obviously, the situation might be vital, right? They might have to move because they need care quickly because there's been an incident in the home. Maybe they took a fall or something like that. But the point is, the home is still sitting there, and the family may need to take advantage of the equity that's in that home so that they can pay for their loved one's care. They may need time to sort through belongings. But they also may not want to go through the typical, what we call the traditional home selling process. We even kind of joke that it's grandma's listing, right? Grandma's way of listing. It's the way it's always been done. They don't want to go through showings, signs, putting, managing repairs or having a lot of strangers walk through the home if there, are still belongings that they haven't gone through or tended to yet. So this is why it's so important that you have options. These families know that they have options, and there's not only one way to sell it. So, again, going through that, there may be a traditional listing. There's an option, what we call a certified pre-owned style sale that provide the inspections and possibly an appraisal and a home warranty up front. There's also a full market value cash offer that's available, and a couple of other choices that might be available to the family depending on their timeline. The whole point is they need options, not pressure. That's what we provide, and we have more that you can see on that program at CashCPO.com.
Yep. And Kelly, what kind of questions do you think that people should ask before they make a decision? What are the best questions you'd suggest?
Well, I'm betting within all the people that are involved with it, they're going to wonder how much the house is worth. They're going to look and see what it would sell as is. And I'm going to throw on there too that, again, touching back on making sure if there's a mortgage or a lien against the house, because they may think mom and dad have owned this for 40 years and no, mom and dad took out a reverse mortgage 10 years ago. So knowing what it's worth, what it'll actually sell for, but then understanding what kind of repairs are going to need to be made, because there's going to be repairs. If mom and dad have been there for a long time, there's going to be things that will add value to it, and then determining what's the best value for the money.
Yeah.
How long it's going to, if there's a mortgage or reverse mortgage, or anything, how much is that going to cost us to put out of our pockets? And I've ran into this a few times, honestly. It's like, I'm putting money out of my pocket for mom while she's in her care facility. We had to move her, but it's coming out of my pocket. I need to sell the house. And then how much is it going to net? That's like one of the biggest things is like, everybody asks, how much is it going to be? How much is it going to be? And that's an important factor because they need to know how far they can, how long that's going to last for keeping them in a care facility. And then the speed and the timing and the privacy, how many people are involved in the trust or the will or their heirs to it. Do they all agree? Oh no, they're not going to agree unless it's a really tight family.
Yeah.
And then who gets to sell it? And I'll pass on another one. What about the probate, title or trust, estate issues? I literally had a friend, her stepdad passed away 4 months ago and her mom passed away 2 months ago. And what they thought they had set up, she told me and my mom's best friend are holders of the house, or we're going to handle everything for her. There was nothing set up. They lost it in probate. It went to the state.
Oh,
Got it from pennies on the dollar. And I just found that out in the last week. That was because I told him, I said, I can help you. Let me help you. I can get you through this. It's, don't want to find out. Heartbreaking.
That's terrible. And here's the thing. Don't get overwhelmed with all this. Just start with one page. We can give you the template. Just get the main details down and spend a little time at a time. Deanna?
Oh, yeah. If you've ever seen the movie What About Bob with Bill Murray, it's all about taking the baby steps. And if you've seen that, the funny part of the movie is baby steps to the elevator, baby steps to the sidewalk. Literally take it one step at a time, like Ro just mentioned. And if you are an adult child listening to this, please be gentle with this conversation if you can. It's a different generation that you're speaking to than what we have today. And you definitely don't want to bring up a conversation with mom or dad and say, it's just, I have to say it, but we need to talk about what happens when you die. Because that's probably not going to be a conversation that's going to go well. So instead, what's that?
I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. No, how do you feel when you hear that? It's like, instant resistance. I don't want to talk about it, right? So something that you might be able to say is, hey, mom, dad, I heard about something today, creating a home legacy folder. Is that something you've heard of? Or would it be okay if I helped you organize your information for the home, just so we know where things are if you ever need us to help with anything? Come at it from a place of being helpful. It'll have a different feeling, and it'll show them that you're coming from a place of empathy, a different perspective than someone coming in just wanting to take control and take over things for them. They don't want that.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Kelly, any final words? Our time goes so quickly on the radio show and we have to wrap it up. It'll be off the air.
Yeah, Ro. So tying into that and going back to your, you mentioned, hey, mom, dad, sell your house, use the money, go do things you want to do. So there's two lines of thinking. So the children are going, we may not need the money or what you're offering to us. We want you to have it, enjoy it. And the parents on the other side are thinking, I want to leave this to them. So it's nothing to feel guilty about on the senior side or the homeowner side. It's just prepping to help your kid. You want to help them. I've seen it multiple times. It's like the parents want to help the kids. The kids are saying, just go have fun. Just go do what you can. But just having some things in the same place located in one file it's not that hard to do. So just start small, grab out the things right away are, and then add to it over time. And whoever's in charge of this, if it's one person, two person, in my case, it's me and my sister. And we will get together, and my mom has thought about this. So just put it together and add it as you go, so that when the time comes up, you have to refer to it and use it. The actuality is you will have it right there, and it will be so much smoother.
May I add one thing to that, Kelly? That's such great information and guidance for families going through these transitions. During my time in senior living, I helped over 640 families with that transitional process. And I can tell you, and I started as a CNA in that environment. So went through different sides of what that looks like, right? What's most important at the end of the day has nothing to do with the furniture or a lot of these things. It's who's with you in the room when that graduation happens, right? So if you can come from a place of empathy, whether you're the adult child caring for your loved one, knowing that these things are probably going to happen, or you are the individual yourself, the senior looking at making the transition, you can work together. And there are ways that we can help you do that with the home legacy folder. So just remember that it's all about love and start there.
That's really good, Deanna.
I never know how to follow Deanna. Like, she just hits me right in the heart every time. I love that. So this is all about starting small. Don't get overwhelmed with it. That was the best advice from Deanna ever. I should just let her do the whole show next time. This is about your, they say it's about your home should remain a gift, not become a burden. I don't know whose quote that was, but at the same time, I say, sell your home, rent something now if you're older, and off you go. Even if it's independent living, but go around the world, do anything you can. Still do. Get your back bucket list done, because every year it doesn't get easier. Go spend your money and have a good time. Just saying. But you still need, it's not just about the house. It's not just about the money out of the house. It's about all of the details, because there is another, I grew up with 2 sets of Alzheimer's both with my grandmother and my mother. And you don't know when you're starting to forget things. In the beginning. In fact, most of us go, oh, we're forgetting things. Is it happening already? Right? Who hasn't experienced that? Put your hand up at home right now. Like, we've all experienced that. So it sort of gradually gets worse, was my experience in my family. And you don't really know when you go over that ledge where you can't write things down anymore, or you can't find where it was at, or even remember that you're supposed to. So getting this into place outside of the house, even if you spend all the money out of your house, is really important for your family or whomever's going to pick up the big old mess that we make in life, right? So, and of course, we can help you with the legacy folder. I mentioned we have a template for you. It's all free. We're not selling to you or anything else like that. It's the home legacy folder. Give us a call. It's a download. We'll send it out to you. Give us a call 24/7 at 828-333-4483. That's our reception desk. They'll take a message. Or put you through to us if it's the normal times of the day. But 24/7, literally, you can call. There's always somebody on call. And we'll help you start organizing. So when that day comes, and I hope it's the day when you're doing your bucket list and running around, then we can help you. Again, the number's 828-333-4483. Your home matters. Your family matters. Your plan matters. Go see all the episodes at realestatenewsradio.com. And this is Rowena, Deanna, and Kelly, and we'll see you on the radio next week.